Just wait, wait, wait,
challenge.
wait, 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 wait.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Karen. He's a concept artist. Hi guys, this is Karen. He's a concept artist, and he's doing some work for a contest for Kitbash 3D. And his this is the contest, right? Can you tell us a little bit about the contest and like show us what you're doing? Hmm?
Uh, yeah. Well, I just saw this the other day, and I'm trying to constantly challenge myself in order to learn new stuff and kind of get out of my comfort zone. So I just quite new to this Kit Bash 3D stuff and uh, the whole 3D thing in general. But I saw there was a contest where you can use uh, some of these models, and basically you gotta construct an image or an illustration, or you can even make a video, and then you can participate and uh, win some more 3D models and compete with some other people, which is pretty cool.
And
Um,
hopefully make some good art, which is the best
uh,
is the
yeah,
best gift that you get from the whole thing, right? Like it's about the art. It's more than like just winning some. Uh,
oh yeah, of course. Actually, like mostly doing this just to have a concrete brief that I haven't devised myself.
yeah, and a deadline also deadline,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
also like you're doing something like you're solving the same problem as all the other people are gonna be solving the same problem, kind of.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, so then you can basically learn from how they solve the problem and compare your solutions to their solutions, right? And basically
sure. Yeah.
maybe learn from their mistakes or how they did better than other people, right? It's just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Shows your
But
do you have like thumbnails you showed me? Yeah.
Uh, well, I actually haven't done a lot of other shots other than this one, because I kept working on this one.
Do you
Um,
have I remember you showed me. Do you have a saved because this is a work in progress and you actually did some progress on the composition and the lighting and like placement of some stuff, right? Do you have like a work in progress stuff from before, or you just keep on working um,
uh,
on the scene?
you mean like older versions? Or I think this is like the most recent version that
Mm-hmm.
I've done,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kept working on it
Mm.
slowly. But yeah, I might be misunderstanding you though.
No, 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 no. I was just no, it's fine. I was just wondering if you have like the previous version that I was looking at a few days back.
I can show you some of like the changes that I did as far as I can remember.
It's
If it's
fine. It's maybe we should look at some of the cool reference that you had,
okay.
because
Um,
you prepared a bunch of reference that you're using for the
yeah,
like for
sure, yeah.
the main idea, right? They're super cool.
Mm, sure. Okay. So yeah, I was basically looking through some because all of these buildings are kind of like um not current day, but they're like a bit like post-Victorian industrial era. So I was kind of looking at uh, like 19th or like early 20th century floods and stuff like that. And I came across this article where uh, Paris was flooded at some point. I didn't really dig into it too much, but I was basically looking through a lot of photos like this one, And the other thing that came to mind is the game Dishonored, which has a really awesome art team and is a flooded level in it. So basically, my references were a mixture of those two things because I really like the lighting and some of the design in Dishonored, and I was looking at some real life stuff. So it says like 1910. So yeah, like early 20th century. Um, and these were like really fascinating in a way because they're like
Yeah, they looks really cool. They're
yeah
really cool. I really like them. I really like the reference idea that you picked with the flooded Paris. Look at those. This is so cool. It's just, and also it's not a secret that uh if I can have a water pool or a lake or something in my pictures, I would always have it. So a flooded whatever city or whatever is something that I would like in any situation. So I'm already in, like I'm
mm,
already super into the idea, and those stills and like these little pathways everywhere is so cool. It's just so gamey also, and when you see
yeah
it like in real world like that, and it's like whoa, it's like it's as if like I don't know, as if you're a kid and someone tells you that your pillow fortress could become true.
yeah.
Because
It's like have you played The Floor is Lava?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Except this is disastrous, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's exact. Yeah, yeah.
But it's like very surreal. It's like
It is
having
surreal. Yeah,
yeah.
it's so cool.
Um, yeah, but that's like from the game Dishonored. So um, I kept looking at like little details that they did, like these support columns that they did. I really liked. And I was telling you the other day that I was listening to this audiobook, um, which was mentioned in the making of The Last of Us, which is called The World Without Us, and it's about how quickly the world we have would fall apart without us, like in terms of architecture and like even concrete and like all the dams and all the buildings that we've built, how fast everything would crumble without human interference. And there's like actual metrics, how much water that gets pumped out of the New York subway system like each week just uh, to not have everything get run over by water
Mhm.
basically and by
Mhm.
nature. Because once you get water introduced into like
An
urban
environment.
environment,
Mhm.
everything starts to decay really fast, and you get like um, like rampant growth of like flowers and stuff like that, and buildings tend to fall uh, apart really fast. But I really love these, like, and in terms of photography, they're like really nice and like soft as well, which I like.
It's yeah, yeah, the perspiration from the water emphasizes the fog because it's very misty because of all the water. So everything is way, like you say, like softer and like with a
Mm,
lot of like fog. It looks like fog render. Some pictures look like it's a, like a distance render, like a
mm,
like a black and white mask or something.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
one of my favorite references, but
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know
I
that,
love
right?
this one as well. Yeah, yeah. We talked about this one. Yeah, you can say what you like about it if you
Yeah,
like.
well, it's I was talking about a similar thing today. I was when I was talking about my sketches. I really like The rhythm that the trees make in this photo,
Mm.
um, the way that they are, it's just basically the the foreground people are disrupting the. It's not a perfect rhythm, the placement of the trees,
Mm.
but it's somehow rhythmic, like they're somehow evenly placed, but the people in the foreground kind of break up this rhythm,
Yeah.
and um, it's very clean compositionally because of that, and it this is why it reads very nicely, and it's
Yeah.
I really like this reference. It's
Yeah, yeah,
very
there's
good.
like a lot of cool stuff. I actually, looking at this, like subconsciously, I guess I took some elements from it a bit, but um, I really like how everything is going in a like perspective,
Mm-hmm.
uh, diagonally, but the bolt is almost like 90 degrees, and everyone is like facing straight at the camera, and there's like some really nice, I guess unintentional, unless they've arranged everything like compositional no elements. Like I really like this plank here that points towards the boat again, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
even this like tone, I don't know, like drapery thing is
Mm-hmm.
like really nice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and plus you get like really nice contrast of shapes with these like really kind of flat looking buildings and advertisements and stuff like that with like these like really thin trees. It's like a really nice picture. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I told you that I would, like, even not subconsciously, I would steal so many things from these references, and this is why they're references,
Mm,
so that you can steal ideas and formulas that work. So I'm just really happy with the way you picked those. It's I
yeah.
really like them.
But
And by the way, you said like, oh, maybe they're arranged this. No, they didn't arrange it, but for sure people back then weren't like people now with their
mm,
Instagrams. Like, if you had to have a picture somewhere, you better be sure that you want to take that picture, because you can't really take a lot of pictures. And when you take a bunch of pictures, you can't really make all of them because it's expensive and shit. So
mm,
if a picture is not really good with a good composition and everything, you're not even gonna make it, because it's like, it's like a film that has to. It's so basically they just picked the good picture, right?
yeah.
But
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
yeah, but also like they were thinking about it, like the guy that made the picture,
Mm,
like probably had a bunch of bad ones, but I'm sure he knew what he was doing when he took
yeah.
that picture.
Yeah.
But it would be funny. Can you imagine if he was actually uh, arranging stuff, like people are dying and starving and things, and he's like, "Can you
Yeah.
just stand there?"
Yeah. Have you seen Nightcrawler, like the movie?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The guy
Yeah.
that yeah, was arranging. Well, he wasn't arranging, but he was following a bunch of criminals
Yeah.
and not
I think
helping.
he moved one of the bodies. He was like, ah, compositionally.
Yeah, and he
It's
didn't
funny.
help the dying guy. He was,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah.
so horrible.
Yeah, it was kind of a good movie though. Kind of.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was a good movie for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. Some of these are like, you know, like real life is stranger than fiction sometimes, and like
Oh,
these were.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I guess this is a cool one as well. We talked about this one as well.
Yeah, this is my, you should steal this. It's my
I
advice to just steal.
I might. Yeah. I'm usually scared to do like
But you can
Because this
combine
is like a really cool idea.
but you
I
can
just
combine this with your idea that you already have. So maybe looking at this,
well,
maybe we can go back to your picture to see
I
what I
was I
mean.
was yeah, I was thinking about that, but
Maybe it's too much for one picture.
yeah, yeah. What I was thinking was basically I tried to think a bit um when I was placing all these like crates and like flowing debris and stuff like that. I'm gonna go over them in like Photoshop after I'm done with this. This is like a really basic render that I've
Mm-hmm.
done because
Mm-hmm.
I'm still learning. But I was thinking a lot about how water would flow if um, this flood would come from like the ocean or like the sea or lake or whatever. But water would flow in a certain direction, so they would all kind of bunch up towards one side. And uh, I also wanted to avoid like too much visual noise, so I wanted to have like some larger places of rest for the eyes, like this patch of water and like some of these walls. I wanted to have like either like these repeating shapes, but just to have some places that are not like cluttered with details, so I can get some nice contrast with like details and uh, yeah, basically empty areas. But um, I did add just a little bit of linear fog, which I'm still learning how to do. But
I would keep that for Photoshop, or just keep
yeah,
it on, or just keep it as a separate render. Like
mm,
just have everything and um just worry about the atmospherics later.
yeah, yeah. I
Because
just wanted to see how stuff roughly looked, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
it kind of looked alright. So yeah, but I'm gonna turn that off.
In
Uh,
terms of noise, I think that the cranes on the back are not doing you a favor.
mm,
And I would, but so I told you, I already told you that. I'm just
mm,
repeating now. But so this is your picture, but I told you the last time that I was thinking of maybe using the chimneys
mm,
instead of the cranes on the back,
as a vanishing point.
and maybe using them like the trees, yeah, like
Mm.
making a rhythm or something. But it was just an idea. I'm just mentioning it now for Twitch, basically.
Um,
But I you changed like the camera, you changed everything, so
uh, well,
now
I did change some stuff around, but they're not like really huge. Like, because I spent a lot of time thinking about it and like testing out certain stuff. Like, I was trying to have some like fabric hanging out like from some of these buildings, but I didn't like how that looked. So I might come back to that. But I basically added this
why
scaffolding
why
on
don't you
on
keep
the left.
fabric for Photoshop? Like
Yeah, I'll probably do that. I was having fun with like the cloud simulation in Modo since I've only done that once, so I wanted to uh, test it out again.
hmm.
But basically, I think you saw something similar to this. I'm not entirely sure. I
Hmm.
kept adding like some detail, like these factory signs, which I'm gonna put some advertisements on, like like some paintings or something on those. Just yeah,
If
should,
I was
mm,
you, I would keep it like that without the scaffolding on the left, and I would add a path of scaffolding in the middle, like the ones in your reference
mm,
where you have like a path of scaffolding, right?
yeah,
In the
yeah.
in the middle of the street or something like that.
The
And
thing I was, yeah.
I,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna just say that I would have it like a path that goes into the distance. So
Mm,
basically, this will, and maybe have it like go to one side and then to the other, just so that your eye is led by the path, basically.
mm,
But
yeah.
what were you gonna say?
The thing is, my initial idea was that this would be like a flooded docks area, just to use more of the assets they've provided were like these huge shipping cranes and uh,
Yeah.
like they
Mm.
have.
The
So
bases. Uh-huh.
sorry.
The yeah, and the bases of the cranes, I guess.
Yeah, and like I thought like at first I started doing like exactly like in some of the reference I started doing like these small pathways that people would have built, but then I was like, if this is like the ocean and this whole area is flooded, there's no way like some of these small pathways would stay like afloat.
Mhm.
So I wasn't too sure about that. So basically because the water level is much higher here
Mhm.
than it is in the reference.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'm kind of struggling. I might do like another shot based more closely on those references that I've showed you.
Mhm.
But this was like my first initial idea. The thing I liked about that scaffolding was like, because here you get like these I guess they're kind of nice, but they're like really simple rectangles, and they're almost flat towards the camera.
Mhm.
Um, and basically, you also get this sorry, uh, you get this rectangle here between the hanging crates and like the bottom part of this rooftop,
Mhm.
and you get this like kind of awkward framing, I
Mhm.
think,
Mhm. Mhm.
which I didn't really like. So I basically added the scaffolding,
To
looking
break
at
up
some of the.
the framing.
Yeah, and it also I kind of like it because it provides like some additional volume because it goes like around the building, and I don't know. I kind of liked it because you can imagine like climbing on some of these roofs or on the scaffolding and like seeing what's on the other side or something like that. So,
Yeah, you can have like a little scene in the front. Like maybe
mm,
you can have like someone waiting, or like two people having an argument in the front on the scaffolding, or people queuing, right? Or just one person or something, just for
mm,
scale, or if you want to have a story, or maybe you can have like a fisherman. It's fit like it's he's on the scaffolding just with
mm,
uh, anything or nothing, whatever. But yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Well, that was my thought process because I kept thinking of how can I add like additional depth to my image so it doesn't look that flat. So basically, after adding these like hanging crates, which kind of serve as like a nice foreground element and give you a little bit of sense of scale of how big everything is. I kept trying to think of more stuff like that to add to this whole thing. Um, yeah, and I don't know. There's like some really small stuff that I did. Like there's like some support columns between the buildings, which you can't really see. So I might do like another angle where, because I was looking at some of these and like um, a lot of, I guess it was I guess it was some of like the Dishonored pictures, but there's like these like pathways between the buildings because everything's flooded. So I thought that's kind of interesting. Like I guess you get kind of the same thing with like the real life Paris pictures, but it's more like ground level. And yeah,
Mhm.
so I might do like a couple of more shots, but um, like one of my personal struggles is like I usually kind of get focused on something and I try and like polish it or something. So I don't know. I might just try and leave this one for a bit and maybe do some other shots with um, like different camera angles or something. The thing
Okay.
yeah.
I think we can leave it for now, and
Mm,
maybe
yeah,
if you finish it, you can tell us what happened later.
sure.
And
Yeah.
um, do you wanna quickly go through the sketches that you showed me last time we talked, or you don't wanna show
Mm,
those sketches? Like,
uh, it
um,
depends on which ones you're referring to, like
well,
the
you showed me
compositional ones.
a bunch of black and white sketches that were really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Yeah, but those aren't very good.
Well, it's
Basically,
practice, right? I mean,
yeah. I was trying to do some compositional sketches, like with like really basic stuff. Because a lot of my portfolio is like landscape shots and like really moody pieces. And there's like very few close-ups or like cinematic stuff. So what I was telling you about with those last two paintings that I did, I'm trying to incorporate more like cinematic looking stuff into my portfolio as well. So I did a bunch of these, and this is I think one of the last ones that I did. Uh, it's not very good. Um, we spoke a lot about this one. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, on how I should avoid like really scented compositions, because this is almost, I think, like dead center,
well,
or it looks close
that's
enough.
not the the best example of you making
Yeah,
a
yeah,
central
yeah,
composition.
yeah. I've got others which I
this
don't
is
want to show.
this is not the best example. Like, you have a bunch of other ones that just
Mm,
can't be. Yeah, it's
yeah, but I had fun doing this one. Like, I kind of had fun like
yeah.
rendering it from
It's
like
yeah,
some
it's
photos.
cool.
Uh, and this is like really basic. I don't know why I
This is
did this, but
Assassin's Creed stuff.
uh, yeah,
Looks like it, right?
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
Hmm.
but yeah, I just wanted to have like some at least like
Some mountains
shapes.
in the back.
Yeah. I don't know.
So this is
This
my
one,
favorite one.
yeah. I think this is the most successful one because it's like the second one. Like I kept going from like newest to oldest, and like the old ones are good, and they get progressively worse because I revert back to my like uh,
Old
comfort
habits.
zone, I guess. And this is a lot more like abstract in terms of like what I usually do. So I guess I don't know, but yeah, I kind of like this one. I also like. Have you seen A Knight's Tale, like the movie?
I'm not
Like,
sure. I don't think
no,
so.
yeah. Well, it's like a movie about jousting knights, and it's like a really silly movie, but I really love that. So I guess there's some vibes to that. Um, this is like a really simple 3D render that I did, but I wanted to do like a really simple composition and do some quick lighting. And this is the first one that I did, which I think is my favorite because it's the first one that I did.
Yeah, I like it too. Um,
Yeah.
I think there's like there are a bunch of things I like. Um,
Yeah.
and I yeah. Do
Yeah,
you?
we spoke about the room.
We spoke about the arrow that points to the birds,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and all the other arrows that point to the
Yeah,
ship.
there's a lot of
But yeah,
arrows.
everything's arrows here basically.
Yeah, yeah. I love doing stuff like that, although I think it's a bit risky if it's sometimes a bit too obvious. I'm not sure if it's too bad here, but yeah.
Well, I like this one, but there is a risk usually with two like with stuff that with compositions that don't have a lot of information in them.
Mm, mm,
uh, it's hard to not make you can make it boring sometimes, but I don't think
yeah,
that this is boring. Like I don't think that this one is boring, but there, yeah, it is
it's not
possible.
terribly exciting, but it's alright, I guess. Yeah.
Well, actually, what you can have is, so I really like in, so the only other thing that I would do in this composition, if I had to somehow make it with more detail but keep it as simple as it is now,
Mm,
is, for example, so now behind the ship, the frozen ship, you have, frozen or not, actually we don't know if it's frozen or not, on the back you have a sky, right? And
yeah,
what I would do is, if I had to add some kind of detail but keep it as simple as it is now, I would add like a city that's on a hill, like a big city that's on a hill,
mm,
in the back, but super faded away. Like you can barely see it because of
right.
the a lot of the art atmospherics. So basically, it's just super faded.
Yeah, yeah. Also because of the lighting, because this is like super overblown
Yeah,
lights,
the lighting works for that as well. Yeah. So
pretty reflective as well.
yeah, I don't think that it's boring, and but just something like that would add some kind of context to the
Yeah,
situation.
yeah,
But I don't
definitely.
think it's boring. I like compositions like that,
Yeah,
and I like it. I like it, but I can see how a lot of people might say that mm, it doesn't have too much to look at, sort
yeah,
of, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fair. Yeah,
But I'm not saying that, and this is why me and you like each other.
yeah, I
We
get you.
don't like a lot of things in the picture.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't like too much
Mm,
of visual talking,
yeah.
right?
When I was going through my portfolio with a friend, and I'm like, oh, this is like really fucking depressing. There's like usually just one person standing in the ruins of something, and that's like every picture that I've done. So I guess that's like the thing
Why
that I
why
do.
would
But
we? No, this looks to me. This doesn't look depressing. This looks like
no, I I enjoy stuff like that. But like, I guess to like other people, it might seem a bit like, well, a thing I'm trying to do is uh, like basically strip ideas down and like try and make uh, even like stuff like that as cool as I can. Uh, Even though this isn't like an amazing picture, like I wanted to have like a really simple thing and like try and communicate it as best I could. Whereas, and I feel like these two, the one with the knights and the one with the ship, are the most successful ones because they kind of have like the least going on in them in terms of like detail and stuff like that.
just the idea and the composition
Yeah,
are so basic
yeah,
that it's you get it immediately. Like you don't even need a whole second to understand what's going on and to be affected, and to, like, the impression that it leaves in you is very um clean. So
mm,
It
Yeah.
basically says one thing, but very well. Like those two pictures say
Um.
one thing, but very like basically these two guys are about to fight each other.
Yeah.
This is why it says and nothing, and they're like
Yeah.
that's it, and it says it very clearly. Doesn't say anything else, but it's saying it in the right way, like just clean and clear. And this is why I I like them.
Yeah. And there's like a lot more energy with those shapes that I've done. Like these are like really abstract shapes that I did. I basically did like a flat layer in Photoshop with like some brush strokes, and I like transformed it into perspective just to try out some different camera angles, and that's how I started these basically. These are, I think, the same shapes I've used, but I just transformed them differently, and that's how I started a couple of these. But once I get into like more, like I start adding more detail, my brain switches off, and
Mm.
like yeah, that's why I kind of stopped doing these because I want to revert back to doing like those really simple graphic reads and stuff like that. Because I feel like I start defaulting to like detail or some other dumb stuff just to cover up like bad compositions or ideas. I'm like, if I render this, like if I render the, the fuck out of this, it's gonna look good, but like compositionally, it might not be. And once you zoom out, it's not gonna matter. Like detail is not gonna matter. So yeah,
Well, I like that you are exploring more ideas.
yeah,
I mean, I value detail and rendering a lot, but I value ideas more.
uh,
So, if you have more ideas, I would like just it's it depends on what you're doing, right?
mm,
But me and you are in the business of ideas.
I
not
guess so.
not in the business of just making one thing pretty, right? but
Well,
but making things work. Well, come on, I mean, you're gonna make the picture for the contest pretty, of course, like you're
yeah,
gonna render it out and everything, of course you're gonna do that, but
yeah.
basically you're working on the core mechanics and idea of the picture, and
Oh yeah,
you're
of
just
course.
figuring out more ideas that work well. So
Mm,
I salute more sketches, more rough sketches, having
yeah.
more rough sketches that work well than having uh, one or two just rendered out images. So yeah, I really like that mentality in your
Oh,
work.
oh, that's something I'm struggling with. So that's why I'm trying to do these because I usually just want to render everything. So yeah,
I really
but
like those sketches. They're really really cool. Um.
I actually wanted to complain about something
Oh,
that I did.
okay. To complain
Um,
about something,
yeah, I mean, just to show how much time I wasted on like this thing.
but
I
to complain to me from yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
But
actually like this was like the idea that I had and like the the big elements of it, like the tree and like the shape of the mountains and like the rider and everything else was like really quick as like placements and like doing everything. And I spent like hours like just thinking how this grass would flow and how I would try and make it look good. And I basically spent probably half the time of this picture like uh, looking at like different grass and snow shapes just to make this look a bit better. And I'm still not sure it works. So yeah,
I
that's I
I
think
know
there's
what
like
you mean.
a
I've
lot.
done the same thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's because it's important. It's an important part of the image.
Um,
Uh,
I guess so, but
but
like the
you're right. Yeah, you're right
yeah
that it's too much, and
yeah
it's like too much. It's not an appropriate time value.
Oh yeah.
You're right, but I get why you're doing that. I get it, but yeah, it's yeah, for
It's
sure there's a smarter way to do that,
mm,
but and I've done the same thing many times. But it's
yeah.
just yeah, it's just doing it over and over again and working through it, and look, it's already working, like you're learning from your mistakes, and I'm very happy with all your recent
Oh,
sketches. This is just I'm very excited.
I'm gonna do a lot more of these before I post them because I'm not too happy with those. But yeah, I'm basically trying to do a lot of stuff at once. I'm trying actually to focus a lot more on design because I lack a lot of design in my portfolio. So I wanted to do some stuff related to that. So I might switch off in like that direction for a bit.
That's cool too. I wanna see that too. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna show stuff because they're like really bad. But once I get to like not
That's
garbage level,
that
I can show.
that oh, well, yeah. I'd like to see something more later. Yeah. So Karen, I'm just gonna just to wait a sec. Um, I just want to see something. Like for example, um, hmm, just a sec.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So okay. I'm really happy with the chat that we had, but
Mm,
I'm gonna have to stop the stream now,
sure.
and I want to keep you just for a little bit longer, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.